thanks notably go to the World Health Organization and to you, Dr. Tedros, the Director General, for the excellent cooperation and drive in taking forward the ACT Accelerator. And indeed, we have seen a tiny virus threaten our health and wreaking havoc to our global economy and to our way of living and working. We have seen that the virus does not respect borders or conventions. We are all affected. Globally, up to 95% of the population is still at risk. And developing countries are particularly vulnerable. 100 million people could slip below the poverty line. But also industrialized countries are not safe. Resurgences of the virus are taking place in many countries. And if we wanted an experience of what it means that no one is safe until everyone is safe, there is probably no tougher lesson to be learned as from this pandemic. We are in it all together. And we will only get out of it all together. Our joint response to coronavirus pandemic shows that the world can rise to the challenge together. Our scientists are sharing data as never before. Our research funders are coordinating priorities and best practices across the globe. Our regulators are speeding up procedures for approving medicines and exchanging information. Our companies are taking risks in scaling up development and manufacturing for global supply. Global health organizations, networks, and foundations are joining forces. Countries are pledging resources and committing to universal and fair access to tests, treatments, and vaccines. I would like to warmly and profoundly thank all world leaders who have committed support and resources at the pledging event that we organized together on the 4th of May and on the 27th of June. You made it possible for the ACT Accelerator to take off and to be the unique and unprecedented global cooperation that it has become in such a short period. It is now our task to reinforce this momentum, to facilitate the ACT Accelerator's work, and to show to the partners involved that they deserve our support. Through the ACT Accelerator, the world can and will invest in common solutions and common goals, common goods that will save lives and ensure safety for all of us. Well, it is difficult to find a more compelling investment case. The European Commission will remain deeply and entirely committed to the success of the ACT Accelerator. Stella Kyriakides, our Health Commissioner, will represent the European Commission in the Facilitation Council with my full support and that of our fellow commissioners. And I am so grateful to South Africa and Norway for having accepted to co-chair the ACT Accelerator Facilitation Council. Thank you very much, Cyril, and thank you very much, Erna, for your commitment and for your leadership. Together with that of the many other leaders in this Facilitation Council, you will make the ACT Accelerator even more a success. The world needs it. We all need it. And with that, I want to hand back the floor to you, Dr. Tedros, my friend.
Thank you so much. Vielen Dank, my sister Ursula. I would now like to welcome the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. Mr. Secretary General, the pandemic has demonstrated why, more than ever, the world needs the United Nations. Faced with a common threat, we need a common response. WHO has played a leading role, but because the pandemic is so much more than a health crisis, it has demonstrated the full attention of the entire UN system. Thank you for your leadership in harnessing the power of the UN in support of the overall coordination of the international response through WHO. through the UN Crisis Management Team, the Supply Chain Task Force, the Global Humanitarian Response Plan, and more. Thank you for your leadership. And Mr. Secretary General, you have the floor.
Dr. Tedros, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the COVID-19 pandemic continues its surge around the world. The #1 global security threat in our world today is the virus. It is our common enemy. Yet we still continue to struggle to collectively make all the decisions and devote all the resources we need to defeat it. But it's not too late. We must start immediately by massively expanding new and existing tools that can rapidly respond to the new cases and provide vital treatment to suppress transmission and save lives, especially over the next 12 months. I know many pin their hopes on a vaccine, but let's be clear, there is no panacea in a pandemic. A vaccine alone cannot solve this crisis, certainly not in the near term. But starting now, a vaccine must be seen as a global public good, available and affordable for all, because COVID-19 respects no borders. And we must fully support efforts designed to speed up the development and availability of new COVID-19 diagnostics, therapeutics and vaccines, and ensure equitable global access and allocation. We have just such a mechanism in the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator, or ACT Accelerator, a groundbreaking collaboration that has gathered the World Health Organization and a remarkable group of the key international actors. When I joined the launch of the ACT Accelerator 4 months ago, we presented a vision to ensure that the world will emerge from this crisis together, where the formidable capacities of the world's leading global health agencies will be deployed in the battle against COVID-19. And today we have a proof that this vision is feasible. During the startup phase, the ACT Accelerator core partners have worked tirelessly to demonstrate that this unique model of cooperation works. They have proven that game-changing rapid diagnostics are possible. They have started rolling out to all countries the only proven therapy for severe COVID-19 disease. They have built a broad dynamic vaccine portfolio and established a COVAX vaccines facility encompassing 170 countries. And through the work led by WHO, it has established an equitable allocation framework for the rollout of these tools. The ACT Accelerator is the global solution we are looking for. Now we need to make important political choices if the world is to reap its promise. First, we need a quantum leap in funding to increase the chances of a global solution to get the world moving, working, and prospering again. The $3 billion contributed today have been critical as a seed funding for the startup phase of the ACT Accelerator. But we now need 35 billion more to go from startup to scale up and impact. There is real urgency in these numbers. Without an infusion of $15 billion over the next 3 months, beginning immediately, we will lose the window of opportunity to further advance research, build stocks in parallel with licensing, start procuring and delivering the new diagnostics and therapeutics, and help countries prepare to optimize the new vaccines when they arrive. I call on this Facilitation Council to look closely at the progress to date and the strong economic case for the ACT Accelerator, and commit to addressing the financing and equitable distribution of what will initially be very scarce tools. And allow me to say something out of this prepared intervention. We will never find this money in traditional humanitarian and ODA budgets. Donors must go deep into the exceptional funds that they have approved to address the COVID in all its dimensions. Without this exceptional mobilization of resources, the amounts I mentioned will never be reached, and it is essential that they are reached. And we must also overcome, and this is linked to the possible lack of funding, the worrying trend of numerous parallel initiatives and nationally focused efforts that would only not be undermining an effective global response, it would be self-defeating. It is in the best interest of all countries to ensure equitable access to new vaccines. As it was already said, no one and no country will be safe until everybody will be safe. That is how we maximize our chances to stop this pandemic as rapidly as possible. Third, we need greater trust. For any vaccine to work, the majority of men, women, and children across the globe need to be willing to accept it. Yet mistrust in vaccines is on the rise around the world. We have seen alarming reports of large segments of the population in some countries indicating their reluctance or even refusal to take a COVID-19 vaccine. This is fueling vaccine hesitancy and igniting wild conspiracy theories. To address public concerns, the United Nations is addressing these as part of our verified initiative by delivering science-based information on the COVID-19 vaccines in human terms. Together with WHO, Gavi, the Global Fund, and other global health agencies, we will work with major social media platforms to halt deadly misinformation. And we will reach out to media partners, civil society, and other influencers to deliver content that builds confidence in the safety and effectiveness of a future COVID-19 vaccine. Dear friends, our global interconnectedness requires global solutions. Either we stand together or we will be doomed and fall apart. We need unity and solidarity like never before, and I thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother Secretary General. I know what time you woke up today to be with us, and thank you so much for your leadership, for your commitment to be with us and to finding a global solution to the COVID-19 crisis, and for adding your voice to the important launch to the next scale-up phase of the ACT Accelerator. Again, thank you so much for your leadership. It's now my honor to introduce Norway and South Africa as the co-chairs of the Facilitation Council. These two countries will be critical to leading and guiding the work of the Council and the ACT Accelerator. We're honored to have at this inaugural meeting His Excellency, the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and Her Excellency, the Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg. I would like to invite each one of them to say a few words in acceptance of this important role that they have taken on with such energy. Starting with President Ramaphosa, your leadership, both at the chair of the African Union, as leader of one of the world's major market-shaping countries, has been hugely important in advocating for the ACT Accelerator. You have supported the vision and objectives of the ACT Accelerator since its launch, and been a champion for the need to invest in health systems. Thank you for your commitment to champion the ACT Accelerator to ensure that in deploying these life-saving tools, no